Hey people, this is day number whatever of your at-home workouts. I'm not really sure, but before we get started here, go ahead and grab your PVC pipe, your broom, your mop, whatever you've got lying around the house that looks a little bit like this thing. So once you got that, take your wide grip, go ahead and start passing it over and back. So we've had some requests, mostly from Casey Moscato, but we've had some requests to bring back the question of the day, or add the question of the day to these at-home workouts. And so we're gonna do it. So the question of the day today, and you're gonna post your answer in the comments. The question of the day that's in our Facebook group is, what is one thing that you're grateful for? So in these times of high stress and anxiety, sometimes it's calming to just think about the things that are going well. It's really easy to kind of dwell on all of the change, the negative impacts that this pandemic is having. But there's a lot of things that we can be thankful for. And that can be as simple as, still having a roof over your head, or being able to eat consistently, not being food insecure. So just make a comment in our Facebook group under this workout and let us know what you're thankful for. Go ahead and narrow your grip a little bit on that broom, and belly's nice and tight here. You're driving those elbows forward, keeping those forearms as vertical as possible, and we're pressing out overhead. We want to think about pinching those shoulder blades here, and of course we're keeping those ribs down as we press. And go ahead and take that broom or whatever you got, rotate it over here, and then pull up as you exhale. Try to pull up that PVC pipe or that broom a little bit higher. And go ahead and release the bottom end. And then go ahead and grab it behind your back. Pull up with that top arm. And just so we're all on the same page, my arm that is close to you, that front shoulder should be feeling the stretch. So go ahead and release with that top hand. Switching sides here, grabbing the short end, rotating it over top, grabbing underneath, pulling up. Go ahead and release here, grab it behind you again, pulling up with that top hand. All right, go ahead and release here. We're going to go back to that just outside of shoulder width grip, resting it on our back. We're just going to do some hinging here. So of course we're going to be long in that spine, belly is nice and tight, thinking big chest here. Now we're going to hinge over. We're going to do a nice slow press here, thinking about pulling our elbows back. Our shoulder blades are pinched. So good press, and then hinging. Good press here, hinging. One more time. All right. And go ahead and set that PVC pipe to the side here. Find your squat stance. We're going to start off nice and wide, toes pointed out. We're going to set those hips back and down, side to side. Just work it into it. Nothing crazy yet. As you loosen up, we're getting lower and lower here. Just one more. Now find that regular squat stance here, just outside of your shoulders. Knock out some body weight squats. Always keeping that belly tight, chest nice and tall. Okay, now we're gonna go narrow. So You're gonna keep your feet directly underneath your hips here. We're gonna do the same thing. It's gonna challenge your mobility a little bit more. You might have to slow it down some. Still driving the knees out. Still wanna get the hips below parallel here. We're squatting like Chelsea. All right, now we're gonna go the opposite here. We're gonna take a wide stance. This shouldn't be as wide as that last Cossack squat we did, but it should be outside of your shoulders, toes pointed out. We're gonna drive those knees way out still. You're gonna feel this in your hips more. You're probably not gonna be able to go as low. That's okay. We still wanna keep that nice straight lumbar spine here as we squat. And we're just opening up those hips a bit. All right, now find that regular squat stance again. Just do 3 squats. Notice if that feels any looser now that we've done those different squat variations. And then at the bottom of the next squat, go ahead and take a big step back with that right leg. And just knock out some hip circles on that front side. And then a couple reaches there with that inside arm up to the ceiling. Hand goes to the back of the head, elbow to the inside. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop this back knee. And we're going to bring those elbows as close to the ground as we can get them. You should be able to get your elbows down here. I'm not great at this stretch, so I'm a bad example, but rest those forearms on the ground if you can. And then go ahead and switch sides here. Big step up with the other leg. Couple hip circles. And then 3 big reaches. Last one. All right, now go ahead and drop that back knee. Bring those forearms down towards the ground here. All right, now go ahead and go back to your plank position here. So we're going to be in our squat width stance. We're just going to walk back into that deep squat here. Hands together, knees out. Hips up, hips down. Push them forward, roll the chest up. And then release. Grab that left toe. 3 big reaches up overhead. Trying to get that chest to face the ceiling. And once you got 3, you're going to walk back out to your plank. You're going to walk back into that squat. Hands together, knees out. Hips up, hips down. Release. 3 big reaches with that left side. Then we're going to walk back out to our plank here. We're going to knock out 3 push-ups from your knees if you'd like. Then you're going to go ahead and hit that down dog here. Driving those ears past your arms. Driving your chest towards your thighs. And then 2 push-ups. Into that down dog. 1 push-up. Into that down dog. And go ahead and lower those knees to the floor. Go ahead and spread them nice and wide. Walk those palms way out. Then drop your forehead towards the ground. We should feel some stretch in our lats here, these big muscles underneath our armpits. Think about pulling your ribs down towards your hips, keeping them tucked. Go ahead and walk those palms to the left. Drop that right armpit to the floor here. Push that right hip away. Getting as much length to the right side as we can. Walking those palms to the other side. Dropping the left armpit to the floor this time, pushing the left hip away, getting long to the left side.
can go back to that quadruped position. You're just gonna have to watch here for a second. But we're gonna be doing some prisoner rotations. So you're gonna be lying flat. Your nose is gonna be touching the floor here. And I'm gonna start with the hands on the back of my head. And I'm going to start by elevating those elbows, keeping those palms as high off the ground as I can here. Then I'm gonna stack those hands on my lower back. I'm gonna re-elevate those elbows. And then I'm gonna come back to the back of my head. So why don't you go ahead and knock out 3 reps here. This should take a little bit of time. No rush here. The focus is on getting a good contraction in your upper back. Go ahead and knock out those prisoner rotations now. Remember, keep those palms as high as you possibly can. All right, once you've got those 3 prisoner rotations, palms under the shoulders here. Last push-up. Walk those palms back to your toes. Okay, last thing here before we get into our board talk, I want you to do 2 sets of 5 reps each. We got the wall squat and then your burpees. So with your wall squat, we're gonna do those tempo wall squats. You should be able to do this up against any wall. But what you're doing is you're getting your feet somewhere between 6 and 12 inches away from the wall. You're moving closer as you can. And all we're doing is we're finding our regular squat stance. Our hands are gonna go up. And the idea is you wanna squat without your hands contacting the wall here. A little bit easier when you're doing this against a pole, but when you got both sides of the wall on each side, you're really gonna have to focus on staying as tall as possible. That's also gonna be important in your thruster day. So the tempo is going to be 3, 2, 1. 1 second pause with those knees driving out hard. 1 second up, 0 at the top. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. And so forth. So you got 5 of those. And then you got 5 burpees. So your burpee, of course, taking the hands to the ground, stepping back out to the plank, rolling down, rolling back up, stepping in, and jumping hands overhead. So you got 2 sets, 5 each. Go ahead and pause the video, knock out those 2 sets of 5 to get you prepped for your workout today. All right, people, so the next part of our training today is gonna be your workout of the day. We do have some extra credit, and I won't even say extra credit. I want you to do this skill / strength work at the end. So make sure that after you get done with your workout today, you stick around and you do some of that strength work as well. We're gonna be working pistols and variations. We've got variations for everybody, okay? So let's talk about our workout. So your workout today is gonna be a pyramiding type rep scheme of thrusters and then burpees, maybe burpees over an object, okay? So your movements here, to give you some context, we'll talk all about the movements, our scaling options, and then we'll talk about kind of some strategy on this workout. So at the highest level, you're gonna be starting with burpees over an object. So if you got a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a case of water, whatever it is, you're gonna be doing your burpee. You're gonna be getting back up, and then you're gonna be hopping over whatever your object is. So at the highest level, I encourage you to take a 2-foot takeoff here. So if you're doing the brown or purple version of this, then you should be jumping with both feet at the same time. So we're looking for this, not this, all right? So we want a 2-foot takeoff there. Now that's gonna scale down. Once you get into the blue here, you're just gonna be doing the regular burpees. So we're still going chest to the deck here, but we're just not going over that object. We're just giving it a little hop. That's gonna save you a little breath because you know, it takes less to do that little hop and just get some clearance off the ground than it does to hop over whatever object you have. That's gonna scale down even further in the orange, where we're still going over the object, but we're no longer touching our chest to the ground. We're just stepping out to a plank.
and we're hopping over.
Now in this version, if you're in the orange and you're doing this bodybuilder over an object and you just feel more comfortable stepping, it's perfectly okay. Now that scales down in the white. If you need to, you can also just do that regular bodybuilder. So just stepping out to the plank and stepping back in, jumping hands overhead. All right, so if you don't have an object and you feel more comfortable with that version and you're in that white level, that's perfectly fine to just do that bodybuilder. Okay, so whatever choice you pick here with your bodybuilder or your burpee, I'm going to encourage you to step that out. Your shoulders are going to be fatigued because we have a lot of reps here, but they're also going to be fatigued from that thruster and holding that odd object. So make sure when you're doing this, you're stepping out instead of jumping. So I'm talking about here instead of here, because that's going to help you pace, and it's also going to save those shoulders some fatigue here. So that's your burpee. Your thruster, it might look a little different depending on what object you have. A dumbbell, you know, you're going to have your choice of kind of how you hold this. You could definitely do a single arm dumbbell thruster here, or a single arm kettlebell thruster. But our thruster here, we've just got that full squat here, and we're using those hips to drive that dumbbell, that kettlebell, whatever it is, overhead. Now, if you want to knock this out so that you're knocking out that thruster with both hands, that's not a problem with your dumbbell or your kettlebell. So with your dumbbell, you're going to hold this just like we would in like our hockey lunge that we do in CBC, with the palms directly underneath, and you're still going to do it the exact same way, sitting the hips back and down, and then driving it overhead. All right, this is going to challenge your mobility a little bit more. It's a little bit harder to lock out overhead, but this will definitely be sufficient. So, if you've got an object you can hold, you're going to do your thrusters like that. As this scales down, it scales from a thruster into a front or a goblet squat. So, instead of going overhead with it, once we scale down to the yellow level, you're just going to be doing that goblet squat here. All right, with the kettlebell, of course, you're going to have that thing held like it's giving you a mustache, like this, and it's going to be the same thing. If you're doing the thruster and you've got a kettlebell and you want to do that two-handed, I would recommend holding it like this, maybe switching that handle side halfway through, but this way you're going to be holding it and you're not going to be hitting your chin with that handle. All right, so it's going to look the same way that we did that two-handed dumbbell thruster. All right. Now, if you don't have an object at home to lift and you still want to knock out the thruster here, you're going to change up your variation a little bit. So, at the lower levels, you don't have an object to do that thruster with, you're going to do a prisoner squat jump. So hands are going to be on the back of the head, sitting our hips back and down, and you're doing enough to get off the ground here. Now, if you're at the upper levels and you want to scale that up a little bit, you're going to do something similar, except we're going to go from that prisoner squat jump, or what looks like a prisoner squat jump, into a tuck jump. All right, so in that one, we're going full squat, we're coming off the ground, and then we're bringing those knees up into that tuck. Now, you can keep yourself honest by keeping those palms about waist high and really forcing yourself to bring those knees up. All right, so if you're working out in that purple and that brown and you don't have an object, that's going to be a good option for you. All right. So strategy, I would definitely think about how you're going to be breaking up those thrusters. The burpees should always be done slowly enough that you don't have to stop moving. So even if you slow down, that's okay, but you want to pace this so you can do the burpees continuously. With the thrusters, or with your squat jumps or tuck jump, squat tuck jump, you're probably you want to choose an option where
in that first set of 21, you can easily do that in 2 sets, so maybe 11 and then 10. And then as you start to get fatigued here, you might decide that as you go down that pyramid and then back up to that last set of 21, you break that up into 3 sets, okay? This is going to be spicy, which is why I called it jalapeno popper. It's gonna burn your quads, it's gonna burn your lungs. The goal today is to get this done in less than 14 minutes. So go ahead, pause the video, knock out this workout, and then I'll tell you about that extra credit. All right, people, so make sure, one, you post your question of the day, answer to the comments. Also, post your time. Let us know how long it took. Now, the second part of your workout today is some pistol progressions. So we've got tons of options here, but what we're looking to do is accumulate 5 to 7 sets on each side over the course of about 12 or so minutes. All right, so our first option is going to be the full pistol. Now, whatever version you're doing, you're thinking about quality. We don't have to go super fast here. We want to think about mastery of the movement. So with the pistol, we're keeping that heel planted here. Our belly's nice and tight. We're thinking about rotating our chest over our thigh as we squat here, and that opposite heel is staying off the ground. Now, if you're feeling really good about your pistols and you want to challenge yourself, you can definitely grab a weight. But if you're really looking for mastery of the movement, I would encourage you to try some tempo work. And that tempo work might be thinking about, I'm going to take 5 seconds to get to the bottom, I'm going to pause for 1 second, and I'm going to take 5 seconds to get to the top, for example. If the pistol is not practical for you at all at this point, you can definitely grab a target and do that pistol to a box or a chair. So in this way, we've got that heel close to the box, we still got that belly tight, and we're still rotating our chest over our thigh here, but we've got that target that we can touch our butt to. Now, this is not a seat. Regardless of whether it's a chair or not, we want to use it as a target here, all right? You can change that box height as much as you want to make this most appropriate for you. And then finally, you can do a front step lunge if you decide that pistols is just out. And with that front step lunge, I'm going to encourage you to take that as slow as you can on the way back up. So once you're stepping out, you're driving hard through that front heel, focusing on that balance, and then coming back up. So big step out, driving through the front heel, and then try to control that foot back to the ground. All right? Finally, the last part of this, we've got some mobility for you. You're gonna need to knock out this couch stretch after all the quad work we've done. Just a reminder, that couch stretch is gonna look something like this. Knees down, posturing up nice and tall here. The closer you get your knee to the couch, the harder this is gonna be. Should feel a big stretch in the quads here. And then that seated straddle is just gonna be on the floor here. We're getting some length here through our legs, and then we're just leaning forward. If you're having trouble feeling this seated straddle, you can also do this from standing, and it might give you a little bit more. So from this standing position, we're just trying to get those forearms a little closer to the ground. If you want even more than that, grab those elbows. All right? So, remember, question of the day, get that pistol work done, let us know your time, and we'll see you guys soon.